Everyone, it's Nick with Us versus Herd. We had an explosive week to the upside last week, led by Apple and Amazon earnings, not as bad as feared, and pushed the rally higher. We're going to go over some charts in a bit before we get into that. I do want to kind of go over the event schedule. It's now going to be August, and just letting you know, August is historically one of the worst months of the year. Same with September. We were carried up on the market on low volumes. Just be prepared, like kind of where we're at. As you see here, since 1950, August generally only returns 0.02%. In the past 20 years, it's actually generated negative 0.15%. In the past 10 years, negative 0.12 compared to like other months. You see July was a historically bullish month, where August is a historically bearish month, and September's like death, right? But let's worry about August. We don't need to worry about September right now, because August is bad, but September is way worse, where general returns are down almost 1%. So just keep in mind, before you get like, hey, this was a crazy month. July was crazy. Bulls blasted off, but historically, July is one of the best months in the year. But let's get into the schedule. I'm going to be talking about like what's happening this week, earnings, some stocks to look at, and along with that, some charts. If you could do me a big favor, hit the like button. Definitely appreciate it. Now, because it's the beginning of the month, we're going to have some beginning of the month reporting. We're going to have, manufacturing PMI. We got job openings. We got services PMI, initial jobless claims, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate. So just be mindful. This is the calendar right now. So, good news is Fed is not in play next week, so we don't have to worry about that. Just take it easy, see what the price action tells us, and kind of go from there. So this is this. If you want to screenshot it or whatever, you can go ahead and do that right now. And we're gonna go through some of what's going on here. But before we get into earnings, I definitely want to look at what some of the charts did on the last week here, going into next week. Now, SPY, S&P, it reclaimed the 100-day, did close 41.1199 here, did reclaim the 100-day moving average. Now the question is, can it maintain? It has been maintaining above the 50-day moving average. We're now above the 100-day moving average, so it's definitely, I would say, definitely pretty interesting here. We're technically at some resistance here, like 415 area. So we have a little bit of room to run, but it's gonna get a little tighter. But as you can see, we're starting to break trend. Volatility came way down, but there really wasn't much volume behind this move, as you can see here. Now, going into the Qs also reclaimed the 100-day here, did clear some of this resistance here, but I would say not out of the woods. You want to be very careful. So S&P, NASDAQ, looking pretty good. Everyone's screaming all-time highs, but we're also going into a historically bearish month. So be mindful. I mean, we're in 2022, I guess what I want to say is, keep your guard up. Never get comfortable. You don't know. For people that are getting squeezed now, bulls could be getting squeezed the other direction next week. We don't know. Just gonna take it a day at a time. Don't over leverage yourself. Keep some powder dry, and we're going to make it through. We're gonna make it through August. Okay, if we made it through 2022 so far, August should be a walk in the park, right? Just kidding. I mean, we don't know, but most of the tech earnings are done right now. So let's look at, what's going on here. We're going to have some of the bigger ones, Caterpillar, Starbucks. Most of the big tech companies are done. So we're going to be looking at some of these smaller companies. I mean, they're still pretty big, but, they're definitely not in the top 10 market cap, right? So, we're going to be looking at Airbnb, Robinhood. We're going to have MGM, PENN, and, it's kind of interesting. Like a stock like PENN, all right? PENN and some of these gambling sites are down a ton. I mean, down from high of 86, now down to 34. Now you can kind of see it is in a channel here, it is looking bullish. I mean, and you kind of look at Amazon and Apple and say, hey, a little bit of good news goes a long way. Like if earnings are not as bad, I mean, earnings could be bad, but if they're not as bad as expected, these things could rip. I mean, we're at lows here looking at this. I mean, looks, you could definitely play this now, not investment advice, for educational purposes only. Kind of look here. I mean, this could easily squeeze 40, 45 if it's like, not so bad. Now, it could also go the other direction too, but it depends on what you're looking at here. I mean, a lot of these stocks are technically trading in like a tradable bottom. They've been trying to, this thing's been here around the 26 to 35 mark for almost 3 months now. So this is what people look for, like calling it a tradable bottom, where there are lower risk trades. Now, if a stock like PENN comes through and says, hey, we have better earnings than reported, then it's going to be good. Now, like for instance, where this won't work is if you're going to have a stock like TDoc, where Teladoc was technically kind of the same situation, tradable bottom, and this thing got axed. Now, it didn't hit 52-week lows, but it got axed last week. So it's just be mindful. It's bad news is going to impact. I mean, this was down. Roku, same thing. Roku reported earnings last week, was same setup as like a PENN. So just be mindful. Just because you're buying these tradable bottoms doesn't mean like it's going to work out to the upside, right? Roku down 23-25%. I mean, this is crazy. And technically, this was in a tradable bottom for almost 4 months, 3.5 months here. So just be mindful that this is very dangerous. And if you're just learning how to trade options, we have the UVH Academy. You can check out first link in the description. There is a promo code there if you're interested in signing up and if you're learning how to trade options right now. Now, getting into it, looking at Starbucks. Starbucks I'm going to be looking at as well. Some of these stocks are actually looking pretty good. Now, Starbucks has been over the 100-day for quite some time, and it is, quite some time is like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? Because 2 weeks right now in this market definitely seems like an eternity. This thing could squeeze up. We could definitely hit the high 80s, low 90s possible if earnings are not that bad. Looking at travel, Airbnb, these are off the lows. Now, the question for a lot of these stocks, such as like Starbucks, Airbnb, is going to be guidance. Apple didn't offer guidance. However, Amazon did offer guidance that was upbeat. So guidance is going to play a key. In travel specifically, what I'm looking for in travel is like, what is their forward guidance? Because I feel like a lot of people booked trips when inflation was relatively low, locked in some good deals, and they're traveling this summer, they're busy, right? What's going to happen is like, hey, how does the rest of the year going into the next year start to look? And because inflation is high, people don't have as much money, and what Apple called was softness of the pocket, or pocket softness. It's crazy these terms are coming up with these days. So let me know, like, in terms of earnings, like what you guys think in the comments below, like what you're looking at, what are some of the strategies that you're going to be employing here. Hopefully that we can all help each other out and kind of crowdsource this a little bit. But I'm looking at guidance. I'm also looking at unemployment specifically, because like I said, unemployment is going to be released on Friday. The unemployment number, as long as that stays strong, we're going to be okay, because there's been a lot of companies that have been laying people off over the last month, few weeks. Robinhood has earnings. Looking at Robinhood, I don't know what's in store for Robinhood, but it's been at these lows for a while. Kind of zooming in here, hit a low of 680, currently trading at 9. I'm guessing their earnings probably not going to be good, but at this time, sometimes bad news is good if it's not as bad as it initially was feared. So that's what we're gambling with this quarter right now, is like, hey, these stocks are low. They're in a terrible position. Bad news, like Roku could take it down another leg. However, like, how much more does it have to give? Like, how much more of Robinhood's business does it have to give? Now, I can tell you trading activity is way down. Searches for stock market related content way down. Even in our own community, if you want to join below, there's links to the Discord and our trading group on Facebook. The activity in there as well is way down as what it was like 2020, 2021, when market's going straight up easy mode, right? And there's a lot of activity, a lot of people making money. But right now, since the market got hard, it's only like people like us, me and you, that are still here trying to make something happen, right? So I would say that, I would guess, I'm guessing Robinhood's not going to do well, but, sometimes it's not going to be as bad as what people predict. And that's what could make it go skyrocket. Beyond Meat, same, man, all these charts look the same. I mean, this thing is way down now. Beyond Meat is under the 100-day moving average. Now, Beyond Meat, I will say, inflation probably eating away at their business. Their pricing is pretty expensive for meat. Now, for vegetarian options, I mean, obviously there's not a lot of options, and you're used to paying more if you're vegetarian. But looking at Beyond Meat, I mean, last quarter was a disaster. Hit a low right after earnings at 20 and a half. Currently trading at 30. Not really out of the woods. I mean, basically where it was right before last earnings. So I think Beyond Meat, I mean, I think any of these, like we showed in Amazon, could get squeezed. So I'm not too comfortable in like, hey, let's just keep shorting these bottoms, right? But at the same time, I want to be realistic. I mean, like Amazon really squeezed up here. However, this was a wide bottom that I was putting in here, a huge range, around from 100 up until 120. So this was basically Amazon was trading like a 20% range for almost 3 months and then skyrocketed. So can some of these stocks do the same? The question is, which one is it going to be so we don't get trapped, DraftKings as another one that is just oof. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like the schedule, if we're looking at the schedule this week, it's tough because a lot of these stocks have taken a hit. Obviously, let's look at AMC real quick. AMC still trading in a tradable bottom here as well. However, it is consolidating quite a bit. I've been one to be shorting some puts in this. I was shorting puts around the 12 mark, and those have been paying out. I might be trading this for earnings as well, where we short some puts. So if I get a signed stock at like 10 or 11, not a big deal. If it dips down to there, try to sell some calls against that position and then try to get out. So I mean, there's for this week, those are the kind of stocks that I'm looking at. I'm not really interested in Moderna or CVS. Booking, it's pretty illiquid for options, but those are the stocks that I am looking at right now in terms of this week, getting prepared. Let's start making money. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're trading. As always, stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd.